Hi, everyone, and welcome to the SiGMA Roadshow, Nigeria edition. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about what's next for lotteries and retail casinos in Nigeria. I have with me very good panelists, so I'm going to let you introduce yourselves, each one of you. I have Solomon Godwin with us, Adele Awakan, and Ken Morris. My name is Monica Rangel, and I'll be moderating. So I'm going to let each one of you introduce yourselves before we start, and I'll introduce myself last, and then we'll go right into the panel. Solomon, would you like to start?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Solomon Godwin. I'm a business development sales manager for Pragmatic Play Africa. I'm looking forward to what insights that we'll be sharing in this panel. And thank you for having me.
Amazing. Thank you, Solomon. Adele, would you like to go next, please, and introduce yourself?
Yeah, thank you, Monica. My name is Adele Awakan. I'm the author for Play Africa. I'm also a consultant on gaming in Africa. So I do a lot in the gaming industry ecosystem in Africa. I consult, I bring in investors and entrepreneurs as well. I also do a whole lot in Africa as per se. So thank you, Monica. Thank you for the introduction.
Amazing. Ken, I know you so much, but come on, introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about you and Four Leaf Lotto.
Hi, yep, I'm Ken Morris with Four Leaf Lotto. We're a lottery platform provider, so we partner with operators around the world, but including in Africa. So we have Nigeria, Mozambique, a number of different African partners that we do full lottery platforms for online and for retail point of sale.
Amazing. Thank you, Ken. And that leaves me. My name is Monica. I've been in this industry for nearly 14 years now. I'm currently working with 888, managing their PT markets. And I also have my own company, Game Labs, which collaborates in a series of projects in Africa, hence my strong connection with Nigeria, Mozambique, Angola, and so many other territories, some of the other countries in Africa. So let's kick off this panel. We all know that we're living in these, this topic kind of ages, no one expected this pandemic to hit. Scenarios of lockdowns, curfews, limited spaces across the world. I know in Africa, it took a little bit longer to hit because for some reason, the pandemic wasn't spreading that fast within most African countries. But we still saw a lot of changes being implemented, namely in Nigeria. We saw some operators turning to other verticals because football just wasn't cutting it. Sports betting took a major hit last year, and so did retail betting. So my first question to all of you, and I request that each one of you then gives me your views. What measures do you believe were and are the most important to lessen the impact of the pandemic on both lotteries, retail casinos, and even sports venues?
Who do you want to go first? I can go.
No, it's fine. You can go, Ken. Go ahead. And then Adele, and then Solomon. We'll go backwards now.
Okay. Well, what we saw is that, a lot of the physical locations were taking the cash. And so when those either had reduced operations or closed down and there wasn't, there had to be physical distancing, that became a hurdle for a lot of the operators for getting players money on their accounts. And so a lot of them had to switch to multiple different type of, at least ones that we worked with, had to switch to multiple types of payment processors, whether they were, vouchers, crypto, all the different kinds of ways to get funds onto people's accounts for them to be able to play from home, because all of the on-site things were closed down or had curfews or, had very limited availability. So some people were almost predominantly offline, and so be in person. And so they had to switch as quick as they can to creating these accounts, creating these replications of their games. There was just a big quick switch that people had to do over few weeks instead of a few years that got compressed on this kind of during the pandemic for us.
Adelea, do you agree?
Yes, actually, I agree with Mr. Money, because so many operators in Africa had to recalibrate their business, most especially the casino operators, the lottery operators. They have to find a way of going online, those which are predominantly offline. They have to find a way of engaging their customers online. Either way, some were using the USSD, some had to recalibrate to USSD, like those lottery operators and casino operators. For example, in Nigeria, not everybody has access to compatible mobile phone. Some are just basic mobile phones, which is just USSD. So for that reason, some operators have to use the USSD format to engage with their customers. Some have to engage them with online platform. So it's a whole lot in Africa, and I believe the pandemic really affected. So that's my point.
That's a very good point you've made on the fact that a lot of Nigeria doesn't have, although the mobile penetration is huge, we know there's over 300 million active cell phones. The fact is they're not all top notch. They're not all super modern. There's still a lot of, we still have to take into account old school technology. So one of the questions, and I'm going to take it now with Solomon, how important is having a good platform in this crossover from retail to online? Also taking into account the particularities of Nigerian market. It doesn't behave like other markets that we know. So would love to get your take on that.
Yeah, thank you for that question, quite insightful. But it is important that I state here that lottery and traditional bricks and mortar casino remain the oldest form of gambling, not just in Nigeria, across the African continent. And what that has done over time is that the operators in this sector were not prepared for the eventualities of the future. So we see COVID-19 redefining the market, redefining how customers should be engaged. So what that has, just like what Ken said earlier, there is no quick fix to this disruptive stuff that set in as it relates to COVID-19. So for the platform, there is no, apart from what people like Chris and other guys has been doing to ensure that technologically they are posed for this kind of opportunity that we have today, there is no much investment in that regard. So I'm looking in future where, just like what we are having with sports betting and casino offerings, I'm looking in future where casino content and lottery content will invest in a technology and build a better platform that will engage customer and all of that. Yes.
So the question, and I know that you're in games, and I'm a real fan of pragmatic play games and slots. But the question is, for example, that the lottery player in Nigeria and the retail player, they're older customers. They're used to playing in a certain way. They're used to engaging their customers in a certain way. So doesn't the platform have to be prepared, let's say, to communicate with them in a way that they know, for example, USSD or, SMS betting, things that are easier, simpler for them to manage? Since, Ken, maybe you can help us.
I quite agree with.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like I said, there's no quick fix to how the platform provider should prepare for this kind of thing. Like what Adele said earlier, some of the gamblers that patronize lottery and bricks and mortar casino offerings do not use Android phones. Some of them do not use good quality phones. Some of them just use phones that can do basic function, which is calling and SMS. So, I mean, taking that into consideration is something that platform providers will just need to see how to build a platform that will kind of facilitate or help these demographics of customer migrate from bricks and mortar experience to digital.
Ken, I wanted to ask you, because I know you're, from the three of us, you're probably the only one that has, the four of us actually, I'm not counting myself, that has a platform operating in Africa currently. How important would you say is having, as Solomon just mentioned also, SMS, USSD, other types of gambling? What do you see as the future in terms of what can be offered via these alternative platforms, since more than half the players are not ready yet to cross over completely into the web versions, let's say, of gambling websites?
Sure. I mean, it was very important. We did USSD integrations. So those, are very menu driven, very simple. They have, easy to follow, like information to be able to play the different games. So we, from the beginning, we mapped out as easy a process as possible for people to go from their phone, which also, alleviated some of the payment processing, because the USSD system, the cell system, was taking care of the payment processing. And then everything was menu driven, where they were able to select what game, select, like quick picks, things like that. So making the game as simple as possible on those menu driven. And then, I think it is always, I think that, the Android and the web applications are going to be the future, but as the people are catching up, giving them those other options to be able to, start somewhere, make the easier transition, and then follow a similar process on the website. Everything on our side is trying to make it as simple as possible, the least amount of clicks, the UI being as simple as possible for, especially people that have, over traditionally, like you said, this is the longest, gambling type in the continent, but really around the world. So having it, people going from paper where they get a receipt to something that feels familiar was very important.
Yeah.
Yeah, Adelaide, I'm going to jump to you now, since you're very quiet over there. And I'm going to ask you, we talked about this USSD and the simpler types of gaming. Let's talk a little bit about the demographic. I mean, I know it's a bit different from retail to online, but we also have to find creative ways of enticing these players. Tell us a little bit about the demographic of players, retail lotteries versus sports betting. What do you see in Nigeria specifically?
Thank you, Monica. Actually, the lottery players still have huge numbers in Nigeria. So let us not take that away, because most lottery players are artisan. Most of them doesn't have a basic education in Nigeria. If you check the numbers of people playing lotteries, you find out, like for example, Papa Jebu, which is the biggest in Nigeria, guys playing a lotto, you find that most of their customers are artisan workers, which don't really have the full knowledge, digital skills in terms of education when it comes to playing when it comes to playing lottery. So for me, the lottery is still the biggest in Nigeria. So sport betting just has a fraction of the demographic in Nigeria. So if you look at the youth specifically are the ones that usually play sport betting. But if you look at the lottery sector, you find the youth and the old people involved in lottery and casino. So yeah, that is why that's why I'm saying in the lottery players lottery is the biggest in Nigeria from my own perspective.
So in terms of lottery, I mean, I know that it's a very long-standing form of, old school form of gaming. I can tell you that in Europe it's very, very popular as well. And I know in Nigeria it's extremely popular, but they also have to move with times, right? They need to find a way to take it off the streets as it was before and make it more online. Do you believe, I mean, taking a look at the gambling market as a whole in Nigeria, given the issues that we had with COVID, the changes in regulations in many countries, what changes have you seen from a regulatory perspective, let's say, to combat illegal gambling or responsible gaming restrictions? What's happened in Nigeria over the past year that you believe is worthy of notice, and that other markets can learn from? Solomon, maybe you can help us with that, and then Adelea, because I know you both are pros in this market.
Thank you, Monica. I think regarding regulatory issues, yes, keep in the trail in Africa. We've had a very sound regulatory agencies in Nigeria, both at the federal and the state level. Yes, part of the things that they have done in recent times to ensure that lottery is well regulated, not just lottery in specific, but the gaming industry, is that they have ensured that they keep to the best international standard, which is, amongst other things, getting some of the content that we offer, including the platform, certified by the best testing labs in the world. Talk about the BMM and the GLI. Lagos State Lotteries Board is doing this kind of thing, and the federal level too, they are doing it. Yes, there could be some kind of it is quite complex in addition to that, because of operator having to go to both the federal and the state level to get his or her license. But I am looking in future where this kind of thing will be harmonized. But that said, they, like I said earlier, they are quite using technology, not just to get operator to register and license operator. We've seen them ensuring that operators are offering content that are certified by international testing labs. And in addition to that, we've seen with some of Nigeria is also preparing to make our jurisdiction a full regulated market. Part of what they have done is to a kind of reconcile what mortar gaming commission and UK gaming commission has done in the past. They look at it, they study it, and see how they can also improve on it in Nigeria. Yes.
That's great. That's great news, actually. I think that more and more it should be like that. There should be an harmonization between countries. Although they are different in essence, there obviously are going to be variations, but take into account, markets that are more mature than others. I mean, I know that, for example, we in Portugal are constantly learning from other markets so we can evolve. And it doesn't matter how small or how big the market is. We can always learn from a process or for someone else. Adelaide, would there be something that you would like to add to what Solomon just said?
Yes, sure. Actually, the regulatory body has, since over the past year, the regulatory body has been trying to implement technology. Recently, the NLRC is trying to curb the grey market in Nigeria by partnering with the rights body, which is the Financial Economic Commission, the ICT areas as well. They also want to try and block illegal websites that target the players in Nigeria. like making sure these illegal operators targeting Nigerian customers are blocked from sourcing from the country because they are not paying tax. So these are some of the things the regulatory body are trying to implement. So they partner with some agencies in Nigeria to bring this to life. So some of them is for some of this initiative is to bring all operators on one single monitoring system, whereby they could monitor any operator which is not in the country, which is not regulated by the body, from not tapping from the players in Nigeria. I think that is what they have been trying to do in the past year. So I believe in the next couple of months or towards the end of the year, I think this will be a reality.
That is very smart.
This will become reality.
That is very smart, and involving the payment methods as a way to basically satisfy the need of knowing if the operator is regulated or not, or is following the rules. Obviously, if you use a currency, then even banks can be your partners in finding these illegal operators, right? And at the end of the day, that would be useful to everyone across the board. Well, to everyone that's paying their taxes and like licensed locally, and also the protection of players at the end of the day. This is what it's all about. Our players getting protected. People just can't think that they can get to Nigeria and do whatever they want. I've always been an advocate for gambling, but it has to happen with good companies that are willing to take the extra mile of going through the hoops in all these countries. Guys, we are running out of time very quickly because we had such good points. So I'm going to summarize a little bit of what we said, and then I'm going to leave you each with a last question, and you can wrap it up between us. Okay. So we talked about the crossover from offline to online. We talked about how important it is for the platforms to have the right resources, especially resources that are useful in Nigeria, such as SMS, USSD. Yes, old school is still important, although we all know that online is the future. If you want to capture all of Nigeria, you have to have the best of both worlds. We talked about the alternatives, the types of games that are alternatives and that have become alternatives in the online, alternatives to sports mainly, lottery online, bingo, slots, new types of games. We didn't touch esports and fantasy, but I'm sure this will be covered in another session. And we talked about responsible gaming, finding ways to be more regulated, aligned with other countries and other geographies that are more mature in terms of regulation. So, and I'll leave you one last question and we can wrap it up. Nigeria, for me, is obviously one of the most promising markets in Africa. Although I wouldn't discard countries like Mozambique, Kenya, Angola, among many others. What do you believe, very quickly, are the next steps post-pandemic in these markets? Go back to retail, which they trusted, or online is here to stay and they should push more on it for the future? Ken, you can go first.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I think there will be an initial push back to what people are used to. But I think that what already happened over the last year was there was the physical wasn't able to happen. So I think that there was, this was always going to happen. It was just going to take much longer time. So I think that this pushed a lot of people into newer technologies if they wanted to continue along safely, along with the kind of gaming that they like. So I think that we're going to see that we're probably, a few years down the road of where we thought we would be, that we've gotten more people into the online, more people into, the alternative forms. But I think that probably this generation will still, as this generation ages, will still be using what they are comfortable with. So I think there will always be, even for the next 20 years, there will always be some form of the offline paper model there because that's what they're used to, that's what they like. And some people just will never, my grandparents will never get onto their cell phones to do anything. So I think that will always be a piece of the pie, but to have, like you said, to have the whole market, you're going to have each one of them. And there is always the push to keep transitioning more people to the newer technology, to the more online, to the
online,
and all of those pieces. Thanks.
Thank you, Ken from Four Leaf Lotto. Adelaide, my dear, any final considerations that you want to add to this?
Yes, Ken said it all. The sector, the Nigerian gaming sector will keep, the players will keep engaging with the retail, but no doubt the retail has plummets. I won't deny the fact. During the course of the pandemic, some shops are closing down, which some of these operators have been impacted badly by the pandemic. So some shops are closed down, but retail is still the king. So from my own perspective, I think the players will keep still used to what they are used to, which is the retail, but the online has gained some traction. I won't deny the fact, because I'm a retail-centric player. But now since the pandemic, I've switched to online. So, which I've stick to the online aspect. So I believe some section of customers have stick to the online since the pandemic surfaced, while some still return back to the retail. So it's just a matter of time.
Amazing, Adelaide. Thank you so much, Adelaide from ePlay Africa. And now last to you. Godwin Solomon, my dear, from Pragmatic Play.
Thank you, Monica. No forward-thinking organization should actually live in the past. We've seen amazing growth of digital content offering in Nigeria, and it's going to continue. It's not going to decline anytime. Yes, the country, the punters, the gamers in the country will still be recognizing the bricks and mortar offerings, but the truth is, no one that has ever stayed offline that tried online that goes back to offline, because the online offering is quite personalized compared to offline. So we've seen a number of customers, gamers, gamblers migrating amazingly well to online, and the figures will keep increasing, the figures will keep growing. The traction is growing amazingly well. So I see the future 5 years, 10 years from now, the online taking. And in any case, all international bookies in Nigeria, lottery, sports bet, casino, esports, none of them is currently offering doing business offline. I don't want to mention brand, but all the multi-international operators that is currently operating in Nigeria, none of them is doing bricks and mortar. They are all doing digital offerings, and they are doing amazingly well. So the opportunities are there. It will keep growing. Every forward-thinking operator that is currently doing well offline should think about online, but that is where the future lies.
Agree completely. Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Solomon. Thank you, Ken. Thank you, Adelaide. Thank you, SiGMA, for making this happen. I think these conversations have to happen and are very relevant. And see you all next time, hopefully in presence, so we can all chat to each other. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.